Last October, in observance of spooky season, we looked at Dracula on the Mattel and television. Now, in that game, you stalk the streets as the bloodthirsty count in search of victims. This year, we're jumping ahead to 1991 for Dracula the Undead on the Atari Lynx, and it's a very different kind of vampire game. That's next.
This video supported in part by...
Playing VR, I tend to sweat. It gives me an edge. So King of Nerds happens to give me an edge too. Let King of Nerds give you the edge. Bye, King of Nerds.
Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John, I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video. The Atari Lynx was a remarkable little handheld whose modest library has a wide variety of game types. You have arcade, strategy, board games, shooters, and more. But you may not know that it even has a point-and-click style adventure, which brings us to Dracula the Undead. Released in 1991, Dracula the Undead is touted as an interactive role-playing thriller that casts you as Jonathan Harker, one of the main protagonists of the 1897 Bram Stoker novel. Now, the story here loosely follows chapters 2 through 4 of the novel, where you, as Harker, awake in Count Dracula's castle and must investigate the Count and then escape the castle before falling victim to the bloodthirsty vampire or one of his 3 brides. Let's dig in.
Dracula, copyright Atari, 1991, and then... Boo! Spooky Dracula the Undead! Splash screen. Kinda Bela Lugosi type eyes. Might even be his eyes, I don't know, but creepy title screen to get you going. Just tap a button, the music will wind down, and here we are, being narrated to by none other than Bram Stoker. So, if we move down, A to move to the next line, I can use Option to exit this entirely. I am Bram Stoker, and the magic of technology, I'm able to narrate the story of Dracula to you. So he's flipping the pages, and he goes through, he explains. Now, you don't really want to skip this. Periodically, he will pop up throughout the game and describe to you what you're doing. Here, you're Jonathan Harker, young solicitor, travel to Transylvania, blah, 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 blah. The landlord's wife insists that he accept and wear a crucifix, all this. So, by the way, there's a clue right there. You need a crucifix at some point in the game. So I'm going to tap Option. What I'm going to do is give you a tour of the game. I'm going to let Dracula kill me, and then rather than a points run, I'm gonna walk through some of the games and give you an idea of what you have to expect. I'm not going to play through the whole thing because I don't want to spoil it. Because you should play this and enjoy it for what it is. So let me tap the Option button. And it drops us right here in Jonathan Harker's room. So what you have on the screen when you use the D-pad, you can walk around. Very kind of point-and-click adventure, but you can't point and click. What you can do is walk up to something. Like I can walk up to this chest of drawers. The drawers. Okay, so if I tap one of the buttons, it'll go into these option menus. What do you want to do? It'll suggest what you might want to do, examine the drawers, but you can select from a list of get, use, open, close, talk, and it'll, rather than typing things in, it'll give you what options are available, right? So let's examine the drawer as they suggest, and you tap the A button. Just a chest of drawers. Okay, what if we open it? Sure. My notebook is in here. Okay, so I want it. Let's get the notebook. Okay. And then if you tap the B button, the little arrow at the bottom goes back to vertical, and now you're navigating the world instead of moving those little wheels around. And so I can roam the world. I can check in here. Let's see what's in the cupboard. So I tap in here and I go, I want to examine the cupboard. It's an old cupboard. What if I opened it? Right. So it's kind of a text adventure with a combined with a point and click adventure. Just an old cupboard. Yeah. So let's walk around a little bit. So there's a door over here, and we can find that door, and we can tap the button and say, I want to open the door, of course. Now, we picked up his notebook. So since we have that, let's examine the notebook. Nothing interesting about it. The mechanic in the game is that when you discover something interesting, you need to use your notebook to jot that information down. So I'll show you an example of that in a second. So let's open this door. Let's see, I want to open door. Yeah. And then we tap the B button again, and we can walk through the door. And then you're exploring the castle, right? So you wander down the hall. You can come to this door, maybe. Oh, open the door. It suggests maybe what you want to do. Tap the button and try it. It's jammed shut. Makes sense, but I might be able to pry it open later. So there's a hint. You're going to pry this door open later. You can wander down the hall and see if anything... And some things are in front of you. In fact, let me just pop over back in my room and show you. You can walk toward the camera. In fact, if I do walk toward the camera here, there's a window. Okay, let's open the window. It's open. What about maybe I want to climb out the window? Something you do later. Jonathan does not believe that anyone could climb onto the castle wall without falling. Okay, but I'll tell you later he figures out you can because he sees somebody doing it. So let's wander back out here. Let's go see our friend Dracula, shall we? So out this door. Look, very pixelated, but very nicely rendered, and a great use of dithering with the pixels and some anti-aliasing. Look around a little bit. You can see what's over here. Oh, there's a clock. Let's check this out. Let's take a look. Let's examine the clock. It's an old grandfather clock. Great. So let's walk back out. Let's wander across the hall over here. We're gonna go get killed by Dracula, because that's fun. Let's open the door. It won't open. All right. Oh, through an open door there. Ah! Hello, Dracula! So you see him standing over there? So remember it said, it was a clue at the beginning. Bram Stoker told you, your wife insisted you take a crucifix. Let's go talk to Dracula. Shall we? I can walk up to him. There he is. Let's see. I want to... can I talk to Dracula? The fresh blood has attracted Dracula. Unrestrained, the Count prematurely ends Jonathan's adventure. So, it is a classic point-and-click text adventure without the pointing and clicking. You have the whole game here to navigate and wander the world. So, then I'm just going to reset the game. And it drops me right back here looking at spooky Dracula eyes. So, since I don't want to spoil this game for you, as I said, you can't really do a points run. I could run the whole game, but that doesn't leave anything for you to explore. And one of the great parts for me about Friday Plays is people discovering games they've never seen. Oh, the cool lightning. Discovering games they've never seen or played and going to try them, which I think you should. I think you should try it. So before I do a run through, and I want you to understand how the puzzles work, and we're going to get past Dracula and start the adventure in earnest, but I'll stop after a little bit, so I'll leave something for you to discover. First, I'm going to mention our store at GenXGrownUp.com/merch, Scary Lightning, where you can get all kinds of cool, nerdy, original designs, even our logo mashed up with other cool designs and logos. Get those things printed on shirts and hats and mugs and stickers and pens and tees and whatever. Look, it gets you something you're looking for. Ooh. Especially with the holidays coming up, or a gift for someone else, and plus you'll be supporting Gen X Grown Up along the way. So here we are, just browsing through what Bram Stoker has to say. I'm going to leave this to you to read. He definitely has clues. He pops up throughout the game as kind of like an interstitial to say, okay, you've made it through this next bit of the game, so let's see what you're going to do next. So the rooster crows. Let's start the game in earnest. So let's come up here and examine these drawers. Just a chest of drawers. Great. Let's open those chest of drawers. My notebook is here. Great. Let's get my notebook. Get notebook. Got it. All right. So let's go over here where I know there is another room. Let's open that door. Open door. Open door. There we go. Check this table. Let's examine the table. There's a tinderbox. Well, by all means, let's get the tinderbox. Got it. Now, we're going to wander over here and look at the bed. Remember, it said that his wife encouraged him to bring a crucifix with him to sleep with. So let's look at the bed. Examine. There's a crucifix on the bed. Well, let's get the crucifix. More importantly, let's use the crucifix. Okay, I feel safe now. Now we can go talk to Dracula without fear of being having our blood drained from us. Now, The notebook you will use throughout the game. You can use it anytime, actually. So if I just go in here and say use notebook, I can do that right now, but it won't be anything interesting. It's important that every time you find out something about Dracula, you note it in the notebook. Because if you finish the game and don't have all the evidence about his identity and the fact that he's a vampire and killing people, like that's the point of the game, is to gather this information. That's your job as Jonathan Harker. So, now that we have a crucifix and we have our notebook, let's head back down this time, see if we have a little better luck talking to Dracula. Let's open this door. Let's take a quick trip over to the library. Some more hints about what's coming up next. So let's open this door. Go in the library. And I would like to go and look at some books, but it's going to tell me that it's too dark in here because later we're going to have to get a lantern. So let's examine books. It's too dark to see anything clearly. So that's your hint. You're going to need some kind of a lantern or flashlight later. So now that we have our crucifix, though, let's go back and talk to Dracula, and then the game really kicks off in earnest. Hello there, Count. Let's come up here and visit him and see what he has to say. I bet he's a little bit more amenable this time around, a little more courteous. Let's talk to Dracula. Good morning, Count. So you pick what you want to say to him? Good morning, Jonathan. I trust you slept well? So you can pick, yes, thank you. No, there were wolves howling all night. So we'll just say, yes, thank you. I like the music, the constant little creepy music. Thank you, bleh. Please explore the castle. One wonderful castle. But do not enter any locked rooms, or he'll be upset with you. The castle is run down and can be very dangerous. All right, so let me get some more information from Bram Stoker. So let's hop back into the game. So Dracula left. We're now to the next phase. So here's the table. Let's look at the table. Examine it, I guess. There we go. There is some oil here. By all means, let's get the oil. All right, now that we have the oil, let's wander back out. So we picked up something there. Let's go back to our room. Now that Dracula is gone, that he said we should explore. So let's now head up back upstairs. Let me look out the window and see what I can see. Jonathan looks out of the window. Does he see anything? Oh, he does. What does he see? A little cutscene. I'm not doing anything. Oh, there's Dracula. Jonathan sees Dracula standing on the ledge across the wall. He is astonished to see Dracula crawl face down along the wall. Ooh. Oh, we do. There he goes. Ooh, creepy. Little cutscene is cool. All right, so now that he knows he can go out that window and not fall, maybe we can go out the window. So let's climb out the window. I've seen Dracula out there. Must be possible. And look at there. So now we have these little gamey sequences. Oh, there we go. Up a little bit. Now I can wiggle across. There's like some invisible barriers there that are slowing me down. I didn't really expect to have these little action sequences in a game like this, and I appreciate it. It kind of breaks up the exploration with some other activities, you know? Maybe the other windows you'll open eventually from the inside or something. Butt up against there. Let's come down. Get below this. Oh, straight across. In! I'm in! Oh, there we go. So now we're starting to get somewhere. So here is a table. Let's examine it. Looks like there's a lantern there on the table. Let's see. So let's examine this table. There's a lantern here. Well, by all means, let's get the lantern. Oh, Bram Stoker's going to talk to me. Amongst the papers lying on the desk, he finds shipping note for 50 boxes of earth, blah, blah. So here's a great example of, now you want to read all of that, of course, but here's where I want to use my notebook because I've learned something. Jonathan makes note of the address and everything, what he learned. So when you learn something, you put it in that notebook. Now let's come back and get that lantern. Got it. Now let's try to light the lantern. So it's a really interesting mechanic here. So we have oil and we have the tinder box. So let's use oil with the lantern. The lamp's full now. Now I want to use the tinderbox on the lantern. Boom! Now, I have learned that you can actually bring down how much light there is. So you want to use... Let's try to turn the lantern. The wick is turned down. And the light got a little smaller. That's going to be important later. I think if you don't do that, maybe the oil burns down too fast. But so let's open this door. It won't open. All right. Well, let's explore a little. So I'm looking for an exit. I see a door over here, maybe. I like the effect the lantern has. Is that a door? It is. Open door. In I go. Ooh, what have we here? Let's look. Money. Let's examine the money. Tell me more about the money. Can I take it? There are many coins and notes. All right. For many different countries, the count must be quite a collector. Let's get some money. Okay, I've got some. Let's see. Can I open this door? What's over here? Yep. Let's open that door. Oh, that one's locked. All right, let's wander around some more. Maybe over here. Ooh, creepy. Okay. So I know what the next couple steps are. I think that's a good place to leave you to understand the mechanics. There are cutscenes, there is intrigue, there is gathering of information, and there is a story that is unfolding. Like if you've read original Dracula, the original novel by Bram Stoker, you know a little bit about what you're doing here. And there are other protagonists in the story that come along in other chapters, but this just focuses on Jonathan's story. And you can fail, and there are levels of how you succeed. Well, you saw me fail. Based on what you do, what notes you take in your notebook, it'll tell you in the end how well you succeeded and whether or not everyone was able to deduce what the true nature of Count Dracula and possibly thwart him and maybe even kill him with a wooden stake, which is the ultimate goal, is to defeat Dracula. So if you haven't played this before, especially, check it out. It's a great time to play it here, moving into the spooky season in October. Dracula the Undead on the Atari Lynx.
At release, Dracula the Undead received generally positive reviews in gaming magazines who applauded the unique premise and satisfying challenge of the game and its puzzles. Now, unlike many Lynx games, this one may not seem to offer much replay value once you've successfully completed the story, but the same could be said for other adventure puzzle games in the same vein, like Maniac Mansion and Monkey Island, which are still fun to replay on occasion, and I think the same is true here of Dracula the Undead. I feature a different vintage game each week here on Friday Plays. If you'd like to nominate a favorite for a future episode, well, drop me a note in the comments. Meanwhile, previous entries you're going to watch right now are linked over my shoulders here and here. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video. I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.